So that being said, welcome and good morning to our session today, Empowering Texans with My Texas Future and Direct Admissions. We are so excited to have you here, so excited for some fall weather, and very excited to talk about My Texas Future and Direct Admissions, this wonderful platform and resource for our students. So that brings me to our agenda. This is what is going to drive our conversation today. First, we have our welcome and introductions. Then we're going to talk about our upcoming tiny takes and what those are. Then we're going to dive into My Texas Future. We're going to go over the college and career action plans. We're going to talk about the skills quiz, the interest quiz, and the program and career explorer. Then we're going to focus on direct admissions, what it is and how your students can participate. Then we're very excited to introduce the My Texas Future Recognition Program. I can't wait to talk to you guys about that. It's a really fun way to get your campus involved in using My Texas Future. And then, of course, we have bright ideas, which are your bright ideas. So those questions that we ask you during that Zoom registration process, we bring all of your ideas back to you. So we share what you guys are saying in the field. Then we have our Academy Spotlight, and we have some very exciting news about the Texas On-Course Academy that we can't wait to share with you. Then, of course, like I said, we'll have time for that Q&A. So without further ado, we are the Professional Learning and Engagement team. We are your host for today's session. My name is Lauren Disher. I'm the Senior Network Coordinator for the team, and I have the privilege of working with everyone on this team, specifically Andrea Panter, who's our Director of Professional Learning and Engagement, Josh Garcia, our Implementation Coordinator, Jared Garza, our network marketing coordinator, and our wonderful intern, Ariana Wells, who sends out all of our continuing education credit and is a great person on our team. And we are very excited to be joined today by Daniela, and I will turn it over to her so she can introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniela Carrillo, and I am the program manager of My Texas Future and Direct Admissions. I'm excited to talk a little bit more about these programs and initiatives in detail.
Awesome. Thank you, Danielle, and thank you so very, very much for being here and supporting the session and talking about these wonderful things. Now, some of you may be familiar with this, but we always like to start our sessions with our mission, which is to provide advising professionals with the resources in the community they need to deliver exceptional college and career advising to every student. All of the resources and tools that we create start and end with this mission in mind, that the tools we are providing will help Texans reach that credential of value and help you be the college and career advisor on your campus. So that brings me to our next point, which is our professional learning series schedule for the year. Our next session is going to be on October 14th, and we're super excited for this one. It is going to be on financial aid. So it's at 10 a.m., just like all of our sessions are. They usually start at 10 a.m., and it's going to be supporting students through the financial aid process. And we're really grateful and excited to have a guest speaker from U Aspire and the Coordinating Board's Office of Student Financial Aid Programs. So during this session, we're going to talk about the FAFSA and the TASFA, any changes that were made, when you can expect to see them come out, and different areas of both of those applications. So stay tuned, make sure you register. I know Jared just put the registration page into the chat, so you can just click on that and register for our session coming up next month. So this year, we also decided to launch our Tiny Takes. And our Tiny Takes are just 30-minute webinars, little bite-sized pieces of information, lots of great information packed into that 30 minutes so that it can fit your busy schedule. We still have expert guest speakers from the field come and attend these sessions and talk about the different topics that we're focusing on. So our next one coming up is September 18th, which is actually next week on Thursday. It'll be at 10 a.m. and we're going to focus on ADV. So it's expanding your knowledge of ADV, Texas's virtual college advisor. You guys do not want to miss this session. It is going to be really jam-packed with information about ADV, how your students can access this little Texas College Advisor, and even hear from an ADV advisor. So I cannot highly recommend this session enough. And then, of course, we have tiny takes throughout the year. We're going to have one in October, November, February, and April. So stay tuned for all of those. You can actually register for any of these on that landing page that Jared shared earlier. So sign up, and we hope to see you there. So let's go ahead and dive into My Texas Future. So first, we're going to focus on My Texas Future's core values. What is it? What can it do for your students? And we're also going to talk about the different audience experiences. So first off, what is My Texas Future? Well, it allows users to explore interests and regional in-demand careers. It also helps them identify those programs that lead to careers of interest. So careers that they're passionate about and they're interested in. It also will help them access step-by-step college and career action plans. These are wonderful checklists that students can use to help prepare them for that next step, where they want to go, what they want to do, so they're ready by the time that they're a senior. We're actually going to take a look at some of these college and career action plans later on in the presentation. The really amazing thing about My Texas Futures, and there's a lot, is that it allows students to start researching college and careers at an early age. So students as early as 7th grade can get onto My Texas Future, create a profile, access those those action plans, and start to think about college and learn about the different options and opportunities that are available to them. So first things first, let's look at the different audience experiences. So when a student logs into My Texas Future and they create a learner profile, they will be asked, am I a middle or a high school student, or am I a college or adult student? Now, we serve both of these audiences very differently. It's a different experience. So your students might focus on middle or high school student, but maybe there's an adult out there who wants to continue their education or get an extra certificate. Then they, of course, would be the college student or the adult. So next we're going to talk a little bit further just about the differences between these two audience experiences. So our middle and high school learners are going to have college and career action plans that are focused on grade level readiness, right? The steps that they need to be taking during certain times during their school that they can do to help focus on their future. They will also see direct admissions, as for our 12th grade students, where they can receive just offers of admissions and see where they can be accepted to immediately. They'll also have audience specific articles. So these are our articles that are tailored specifically for this audience. Now, our adult learners, they also will see college and career action plans, but those will be focused on advancing or changing careers. They'll also have access to information about the Texas Transfer Framework that can really help your student who maybe has gotten credit somewhere but wants to continue somewhere else, like maybe they went to a community college and have some college credit and then want to go to a university a couple years later or whatever it is. It can help them kind of navigate that process. And then we have those audience specific articles for our adult learners. So this next slide is just a really great example of what those different articles are going to look like. For our middle and high school learners, you can see that they're going to see articles that are like why college matters, building better study habits, that information that they need when they are in middle and high school to help prepare them for college. And then our adult learners, they're going to see articles that are focused on employer and educational benefits, credit for work and life experience, right? It's those specific articles that are tailored to those audiences. So it's nice to know that when your student is logging in and creating a profile in My Texas Future, they're going to see the specific experience that's right for them. And with that, I'll turn it over to Daniela.
Thanks, Lauren. So we're going to dive into some of the key features that are in My Texas Future and be able to dive a little bit more in with examples of how you can utilize these with your students. So next slide, please. So some of the key features we will be covering today are some of the overall quizzes that are available, action plans, and as Lauren mentioned, the Career Explorer and Program Explorer. And then we will do also a deep dive in direct admissions. One of the things to note that with the key features, students can utilize these whether they have an account or do not have an account. Obviously, there are additional features that are more accessible if a student does create an account and is able to save this information to their learner profile. But in the situation where maybe even you as a counselor wants to help a student explore, or even you as a counselor want to go ahead and explore My Texas Future, it's fully available with an account, with or without an account. So next slide, please. So two of the main features of My Texas Future are our career interest quiz and skills quiz. These two quizzes do pair together. We typically will suggest that students do go ahead and start off with the interest quiz. It is a much shorter quiz that is available to students to figure out what are the general interests and even provide them information about different endorsement plans that they could possibly pursue in their high school career as well. With that, then they are prompted if they would like to take the skills quiz, and the skills quiz is ever evolving with students as their interests do change. It is a much longer quiz, but it does go very in-depth into different subject areas as well as different interest areas to really make sure that students are capturing all the different types of information that they could to receive results on different programs that might be of interest for them to further pursue in their college careers. Next slide, please. A great way to guide students through this overall process is by utilizing the college and career action plans. We have created college and career action plans for students of all grade levels that are available to use in My Texas Future, and it provides a step-by-step instruction guide to utilize as a method for students to make sure that they are achieving all the steps necessary to be prepared for their college journey, or whether they are looking to pursue a career afterwards. So we break it down all the way from 7th grade to 12th grade with age-appropriate activities and different age-appropriate articles so they can do exploration in a guided manner, whether that is at school or at home with their families. Next slide. So this is just an example of a college and career action plan, and you'll see that each grade will have steps that are very easy to follow, and they are broken down by semester as well. So oftentimes you may have students who come in and ask questions of like, am I on track? Am I falling behind? And these are great ways to show them that these are the typical steps that students would have to follow in order to make sure that they are on time. As a student does click through the steps, it will lead them to either different articles that do break this information more down into further pieces, or lead them directly to the task at hand, whether that is comparing financial aid, accessing an interest quiz, or so on and so forth. Next slide, please. So let's use an example here of a student who could possibly, oh, is that the, Jared, was that the, Oh, yes. Okay, perfect. Sorry, jumping ahead. So the Career Explorer does let users to search for a lot of different job opportunities located in the Texas region. It will break down by different types of career names, career clusters, and even break down information that is specific to Texas, like salary range as well. This information is really helpful, especially pairing it with the interests and the skills quiz as well. So when a student does receive results on the skills quiz, it will link them directly back to the Career Explorer to further understand the details related to what those careers may actually look like. Um, all the information, like details related to salary and growth projections, are actually related to information here within Texas. So we have a lot of databases that we work with to make sure that this information is up to date and showing information that is regionally available to students. Next slide. Okay, so now let's talk about Julia here. So Julia is a great example of a student who may want to utilize this feature and plan for college and her further experiences. Even though she's a seventh grader, she's already thinking about these things and trying to explore her overall interests. So we will go ahead and demonstrate what this actually looks like. Next slide.
Let's use the Career Explorer to help Julia find some careers she might like. We could start off by using the search field and entering in some job titles or keywords related to her interests, but Julia might not be sure exactly what to look up. So I'm going to use some additional filters to help her. She's probably learning about career fields in school, so I'm going to enter in a career cluster related to her interests. Since she lives in San Antonio, I'm also going to add in her county so that she can see information that's specific to where she lives. Now I'm going to go into more filters, and in this knowledge area, I'm going to add some subjects she likes, like chemistry, computers and electronics, and she mentioned coding. I'm thinking of adding English as well, just knowing that she's in the poetry club. As I scroll further down, I'll also add in associate's degrees and bachelor's degrees as recommended education types so that she can see careers that require different amounts of time in school and credentials. Now, when I apply these filters, I get a list of 22 careers organized by projected growth, so I can really see things that are in the most demand. And as I scroll down, I'm noticing job titles like information security analyst, software quality assurance testing, web development, game design, things that Julia may or may not be familiar with. So I'm going to compare a couple of these roles and give Julia a side-by-side view of each one. So she can see the expected pay range for each career in the San Antonio area, how much each of these jobs are growing, what kind of education is required, so different amounts of training for some of these roles, as well as the top skills someone needs in each line of work. And as I take a closer look, it seems like all of these jobs pay relatively well, some a little bit better than others. I noticed that information security analysts are really growing by a lot. So I'm thinking that this is one that Julia might be curious to learn a little bit more about. And when I click on this job title, I'm taken to this details page that gives a lot more information about this role. So I would point out to Julia what someone does in this line of work, as well as the related endorsement areas, knowing that she's in middle school and she's going to need to pick an endorsement once she gets into high school. So if this is something that interests her, she might want to take classes in one of those endorsement areas later on. Now I'm seeing the details for all of Texas, but I'm going to go back in and add her county so that she can see what the salary expectations are for San Antonio specifically. And Julia might not know what it means to make this much one day. So as we scroll down, we could take a look at this breakdown that shows what percentage of someone's monthly earnings they usually spend on housing and food so that she can get a sense of what it means to budget for different items. And as we continue to scroll down, Julia can view a lot more information about the career itself. She could play one of these videos that really gives her an impression of what it looks like to do this job day by day. She can really see the responsibilities in action here. The tasks that they perform and skills that they need are spelled out in more detail further down. And she can also see what kinds of additional certifications might be required for this career. From this page, she can also take a look at other job titles. So she could click and view more details about other roles and really see how they compare to one another. So long as Julia is signed into her account, if any one of these jobs interests her, she could add it to her favorites so that she can come back and do additional research later.
Awesome. So that was a great overview of how to utilize the Career Explorer and how useful it can be to students all the way from middle school all the way until post-grad. So moving on to our Program Explorer. Our Program Explorer does serve similarly as the Career Explorer, but the focus is on programs within institutions of higher education. So the programs are subject areas that include majors. They're not going to be major specific names, as they are going to be more overall general and provide more information about those subject matter areas. Students can search the areas of study by location, degree type, and a lot more, just like the Career Explorer, and also can organize it by overall costs, as we know that different programs have different costs at different institutions. So we'll go ahead and demonstrate a walkthrough of what the Program Explorer looks like.
Now, let's say it's a few years later and Julia is thinking about where she wants to go to college. We can use the Program Explorer to see what types of degrees and institutions would be a good match for her career plans. She can search for programs directly from her saved careers by going to the Details page and then clicking Explore Programs for this career. This takes her to a pre-filtered list of programs across the state of Texas. Since she wants to stay in San Antonio, I'll enter in that city in the location filter and drop down the radius. Now, it seems like the jobs that she's interested in usually require a bachelor's degree, so I'll also add that as an additional filter. Now we have a list of 8 programs at a few different universities and colleges in the area. I see computer systems networking at Alamo Community College, computer science at Texas A&M in San Antonio, and computer and information sciences at UTSA. I'm going to compare these so that Julia can get a side-by-side view of each of these programs. Now she can see the difference in school types, degree types, which in this case are all the same, learning format, and I think this is something that she would be interested in noting, that if she were to go to community college, she would be able to take these courses online, whereas at these universities, she'd be taking classes in person. She'll also be able to compare the difference in cost, like average tuition and average loan, as well as some other details like average time to graduation, so how much time students typically spend in school, as well as some salary projections post-graduation. So this is an opportunity for us to talk to Julia about some of the differences between going to a 2-year versus a 4-year school in terms of cost, and whether or not it might make sense for her to transfer from a 2-year to a 4-year, or even get her whole bachelor's degree at a 2-year school. Now she can learn more about these programs by clicking the program title at the top of the page. This takes her to more details about the university as well as the program itself. Here she's able to see details about the school, like how many students attend and what the average tuition is for the undergraduate population. By clicking this link, she'd be able to use her net price calculator and enter in some details about her family, her living situation in college, so she can get a better idea of how much she would pay to go to this university. Here she can learn more about the program, seeing what it covers, and also different majors within this program area. So she can see that she could get a bachelor's degree in computer and information sciences or in information technology. Scrolling further down, she's also able to see starting salary expectations for graduates of this program 1 year after graduation. So this gives her an idea of what she might be able to make in her first job after college. But it's important to know that students who graduate from this program are going to be hired in different roles in different areas, so this certainly could vary. And while she might have a couple of roles in mind for herself, by scrolling down and seeing related careers, this can give her more ideas around what she might be able to do and specialize in as her career advances. And the more experience she gains by looking at the median salary, she can get a better sense of how much she might make a little further down the road. Now, if this is a program that interests her, she can scroll up to the top and add it to her favorites. That way she can always come back and look at it again later. And she can also go to the university's website to get more details about classes, degree plans, faculty, and really get a feel for whether or not this program is a good fit for her.
Awesome. So I hope that those two videos were a great example of how students and yourselves can utilize these in the classroom and at home to do further exploration at any age. So just to kind of give an overview, we use a lot of databases in order to feed into both the Career Explorer and Program Explorer. We pull both from national sources and local sources to really make sure that students have the most accurate information and timely information that might be relevant to their overall career exploration and college exploration. Next slide. So now switching gears over to direct admissions, with just in the chat, if some of you can just go ahead and type in whether you've heard of direct admissions, utilize direct admissions, or never have heard of it. Would like to see an overall gauge of that. I know some of you had already typed in that you were excited about learning a little bit more about direct admissions, so I look forward to seeing that. Okay, heard of it, but not seen how it will work. I've heard of it. Okay, awesome. So as many of you are saying in the chat, some of you have heard of it, but still need more details to further understand that. And that's really what we're going to be covering here today. So next slide, please. So direct admissions is, in a general sense, is an opportunity for students to be able to see what admission offers they can receive with just a few steps by providing self-reported academic information. Direct admissions has been seen now, it's a nationwide movement right now in the college admissions field, allowing students to evade more steps in the process and remove that overall anxiety towards the college admissions process. So what students will utilize in My Texas Future as direct admissions, they will go ahead and create an account. An account is needed to utilize direct admissions. Once they create an account, they will go ahead and provide self-reported academic information, and they will opt in to share that information with the institutions that are currently participating. At that point, students will receive offers depending on the information that they have input in. We currently have 33 different participating institutions, and so there's a lot of information that may be available to students at hand. Students will still need to submit an application in order to complete the overall process. Why is that needed? So part of that reason is because most institutions that are currently participating will still require students to make sure that they are applying for a specific major at the institution and also to see if they are eligible for any financial aid opportunities. One may ask, why is that still necessary? Because the admission offers only to the institution, not to a specific major at choice, mainly because a lot of the majors at different institutions across Texas do require separate requirements for major applications. Next slide. So, as I mentioned, students will provide other information via self-reporting. They do have an option to go ahead and just input information in a few sections. They do not have to utilize all sections in order to obtain information. They will go ahead and utilize the academic details portion of the opt-in form to start and inputting that information. Really, the only required field is going to be graduation plan. So if your students are not familiar with what their graduation plan is, I would ensure that you all start preparing them with those types of conversations. In addition to that, they will select one other field, whether that is class rank, GPA, or test scores, in order to obtain more information about what institutions they may be eligible for. Not every single section is required, but we do encourage students that if they fill out more sections, they will most likely obtain more results. Other pieces of information that will be shared with institutions will be their self-reported academic details, high school name, date of birth, and email and grade level. This information is shared with the institutions when they do opt in, so the institutions can do personalized outreach to the students related to their direct admissions offer. In addition, this is also shared with institutions so they can cross-reference with their application if an application has already been submitted by the student as well. Next slide, please. So once a student opts in and it submits all the necessary information required, students will see the offers at hand if they receive any offers to begin with. Most institutions will provide a variety of different options in order to provide offers for students. And so students will see their list, and then once they see a school that they're interested in, they can go ahead and click for further information and next steps. As a reminder, and as I have already mentioned, students must still submit an application and their remaining supporting documents, both to verify the self-reported information and to make sure that students are applying to any specific majors and to be considered for eligible merit scholarships as well. Next slide. So this is a brief overview of institutions that are currently participating in our direct admissions initiative. They all have provided us their academic criteria in order to identify students that are eligible for direct admissions at their institutions. So you'll see that currently this list involves most of all of our public four-year institutions here in Texas. At this time, we do not have private universities or community colleges participating. We hope to further expand this list as we continue on this initiative. Next slide, please. So one of the additional features that does come with creating an account is that students can utilize their same login for direct admissions and for My Texas Future and Apply Texas. We have created a single sign-on opportunity for students to make sure that they're only utilizing one sign-in information, as well as making sure that they're not having to keep track of many different login information. One of the things to keep in mind is that if a student has already had this account before March of this year, they will need to reset their password in order to make sure that they can log into both sites with the same information. Next slide, please. One of the additional benefits of this is that students can sync their learner profile with Apply Texas. So making sure that students are able to sync their information from their core questions in the learner profile from My Texas Future to Apply Texas. Please keep in mind that My Texas Future will only send information to Apply Texas, not vice versa. So if you have a student who's working first in My Texas Future, this will be a great way for students to create a log of their information and their core questions. So when the time comes for them to apply and utilize Apply Texas, some of that information will already be populating into their Apply Texas accounts. If students keep their profiles up to date, this is going to save them a lot of time when they start applying for colleges, but also save them time if they are receiving direct admission offers and already have some of that information populated to begin with. So next slide, please. And I pass it on to Lauren. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Daniela. That was wonderful. Really appreciate your insight into this awesome tool. And now we will talk about the My Texas Future Recognition Program, which is something we launched just recently. So, what is the My Texas Future Program? Well, this can actually allow your campus to gain recognition by just incorporating My Texas Future into student activities and programs. So, who's the program for? It is open to middle and high schools all over Texas. So, if you're in a middle school or high school right now, this program is for you. And you can participate this academic school year. So, you can start right now. And what will happen is you're going to receive My Texas Future branded items. We will send you these items that have My Texas Future on them. Then we'll also send you customizable digital marketing tools. And this will include flyers, this will include banners, posters, emails, social media posts to really help let everybody know that you are using My Texas Future actively on your campus. Your students are in it, they're exploring, they're using the Career Explorer, the Program Explorer, they're creating profiles. There's exciting things happening with My Texas Future at your campus. So, just a little bit more about the program. How do you become recognized? Well, first and foremost, Jared just dropped the interest form into the chat. So, fill out that interest form. That tells us that you are interested in being recognized as a My Texas Future campus. Then, when we send you these items and you receive them, you can hand out the My Texas Future swag at student events. Maybe you have students at an application event and they're working on their applications. You can hand out some of the items during that time. You can print and display the flyers and banners and posters all over the school to let people on campus know that you're using My Texas Future and this is a great resource to have in your back pocket. And you can include materials at parent events or coffee with the principal. Let parents know that this is what their students are doing, this is how they're exploring college and career opportunities, and starting to think about their future. Step two, you can incorporate My Texas Future into your already planned college and career activities. So, like I mentioned, those application workshops, if you have a student who's not sure where they want to go or what they want to do, maybe direct admissions would be a really great resource for them to kind of start thinking about, like, hey, I can get into these different schools. Let me research more about them, see if this is a good fit, see if I want to apply and take those next steps, right? So it's a great opportunity to incorporate My Texas Future into events that you're already doing. Like I said, if you have a financial aid event, there's information in My Texas Future that can help guide students through financial aid. So they have resources and articles in there that focus on that topic. And I cannot even tell you how great My Texas Future is for a career exploration class, AVID, or first year intro class. If you have students in a freshman class that kind of need some guidance or direction, My Texas Future could be a great resource for them. And then step three is just being recognized by the coordinating board as a My Texas Future campus, displaying those customizable digital marketing tools all over your campus, saying you are recognized as a My Texas Future school, your students are using it, you guys are thinking about it, you know what the resource is, and you're actively participating in it. Speaking of those college application drives, mark your calendars because this is very exciting. It's free college application week for Texas residents. So during the week of October 13th to October 19th, all undergraduate and transfer applications are free for public institutions in Apply Texas, which is really exciting. If your students are working on their applications right now, then they can hit submit during that week and they don't have to pay that application fee. It is open to all Texas public universities are participating in this program, including those public technical colleges and public junior colleges. They're all going to participate. So students just need to do their applications through Apply Texas to take advantage of this really, really exciting opportunity. So, just to start brainstorming with you guys, we wanted to kind of help think about some things that you could do on campus to start preparing your students for Free College Application Week. So, this first one is just start to market Free College Application Week and planned activities on your social media, or if you don't have social media, in school newsletters during September, maybe and during the announcements. There's so many different ways that you can start to really get students on board for this week and start to think about, hey, this is coming up and I can get my applications in for free through Apply Texas. You can host those application workshops maybe during lunchtime the week of October 13th. Just open up a center or an area where you can have some laptops where students can work on their applications during lunch so they can ask you if you're available as a resource. Maybe work with your senior level teachers to assist classes with completing applications. Plan a few evening events during that time to help students and parents complete those applications. And enlist the help of college partnership programs or local community college advisors. If you're in the Austin area, Austin Community College is really great. They might come out and help you during those events and help those students apply. And with that, I'm very excited to kick it over to Josh to talk about our bright ideas.
Awesome. Thank you, Lauren. Yeah, so I know a lot of people were asking about the resources and things like that. We're going to get to those in just a second. But first, I did want to talk about our bright ideas. So if you remember when you registered for this webinar, there were a few questions asking you about your thoughts on My Texas Future and direct admissions. Well, we wanted to let you guys know that we read all of your answers to those registration questions, and we feature some of the themes here in our bright ideas. So thank you so much for answering those, being candid. We really do take those into account and use that feedback and those answers to kind of guide our content as we go forward. So we can go ahead and look at the first question here, which was asking you all how you plan to integrate My Texas Future into your advising sessions. And we got some great examples of how you might use that for one-on-one advising with students. This might also be incorporated into college and career courses, info sessions, parent nights, workshops, all kinds of great activities that you can incorporate My Texas Future. And some of the themes that we picked up on for why you like to incorporate that is that, first off, it is exploratory for students. As we saw with the interest assessment, with the program exploration that you can do there, this is great for students who are unsure, for students who do have an idea. You can start to narrow things down from there and build upon it into something that's much more comprehensive. So not only is it going to take things into account on their interest, but it's going to also look into how this can feed into their long-term goals. Because again, as we mentioned, this is not just for seniors. This is something that you can start as early as middle school, and it can continue on through high school, through their post-secondary journey, for all of their college, career, financial planning, looking at those next steps and making sure that students are feeling invested, that they feel like they have a choice, and that they're really aware of all of their options that are available for them. And our next question was about direct admissions. So this is where, again, y'all gave some great feedback on how you would like to use this, guiding those conversations, looking at new possibilities for students. So I know from my experience working with students, sometimes you're going to have those that are really dead set on just one dream school. So in this case, students can explore options for all kinds of schools that they may have not considered before without that pressure of having to hinge it all on the process of an application, paying the application fee, right? They can get that clarity and just start to really think outside the box throughout the state where they might want to go. Also, they might really start to consider some backup plans here, especially with those dream schools that can be very competitive to get into. It's great to have a backup plan, and this is a really easy way to kind of look at those admissions requirements and see where they might have some potential other options. And lastly, this is just something that's going to open up accessibility. So for students who are maybe not even considering college as an option or feeling a lot of anticipation about it, again, this is just a way that they can go in, have some clarity over where they may be able to get accepted for these four-year institutions and really start to think about what's next for them. And lastly, the question that we had is kind of building upon that into how you all see direct admissions and if you think this might motivate your students, how you've seen this as an effect. And what we've seen across the board is that, yes, having this clarity reduces stress for your students, gives them a better sense of not only which schools they want to pursue, but how they need to divvy up their time management for those applications. It builds their confidence when they start to see the schools that are most likely to accept them. And it can really start to see the results of all their hard work during high school starting to pay off early on. So we tend to see that giving students a lot of excitement. It can even kind of kickstart students into taking initiative into prepping for their application or just thinking about what next steps are available if they're doing multiple applications. So a lot of great answers there. Again, thank y'all so much for your very thoughtful feedback there. It populates into a spreadsheet. We read through each answer. So it really means a lot. But I do want to take some time to also talk about some of the resources. I know that many of you were curious about. If you haven't heard, we do have a brand new Texas On-Course Academy. So we just got a major upgrade about 2 weeks ago. This launched. And in the new Texas On-Course Academy, you're going to see over 30 refreshed modules here. And on the next couple slides here, oh, look at that. It's a beautiful graphic. I'll be able to show you some of one module in particular that we directly relates to our content today. But if you're somebody who's gone through the academy in years past and you feel like been there, done that, seen it all, learned everything there is, as you know, things change, right? There's been new laws. There's been, people are still figuring out new ways to kind of guide and prepare for testing, new things with admissions. There's new funding models within schools. So we've refreshed all of this content within the academy. We've had it reviewed by educators, and there's just a ton of really great interactive activities in here that can either, if you're someone who's new to this or just need a refresher, get a lot out of it in a very quick way. I know I've been going through there and just checking some of them out. And there's a lot of modules that you can go through in like maybe 10, 15 minutes. And it's so great to have that knowledge just refreshed. If you'd like to learn more, we are doing a session on this November 18th that you can sign up for. It's going to be at 10 a.m. and it's really going to take you through it and kind of show you everything that I'm talking about. But if we want to head to the next slide, I can show you a specific module that I do want to shout out related to My Texas Future. So how this would look, we have a couple of screenshots. You'll see there on the left picture, this is what the welcome page will look like for the Academy. You're going to need to either create an account if you haven't before, or if you do have one, you can log in. And then from your dashboard, you'll see on that picture to the right, you can click on the box that's there in the pink, Advising Foundational Knowledge, Designing College and Career Planning. And then on our next slide, this is going to open up the modules for this. So some great content in here, but if you're looking to take a deeper dive on My Texas Future, you would go to module 4, which is down there in the bottom right. And then that's going to open up kind of the table of contents And again, just some really great information, whether you want to check this out again. I know for me, I can hear information and take it in, but I retain it much better when I can read it and write through it. So if you're somebody like me, this may be a good option for you to have in addition to our webinars. A few more resources that we have, if we go to the next slide, please, are our student resources. And we want to give these a shout out because as you're going through there on the Academy, there's going to be, of course, resources and things that you can take there from the Academy, but there's also going to be this site with student resources that pairs really well with those courses and modules. So we're going to link all of this. We'll be able to send it all out to you after the webinar today. But this is stuff that you're not having to take from scratch. And it's very, very helpful. Yeah, we'll go to the next slide to see an example of what one of these looks like for My Texas Future. So this is a great Program Explorer activity. And when you download it or when you see it on the website, it's going to look exactly like what's here. It's 2 pages, and there's going to be some guiding questions for students that give them a holistic way of looking at potential schools. So you'll see questions over everything from which academic programs are offered, admissions criteria, some questions over financial aid and scholarships, and then location and the campus facilities. So a great way for students, if they want to have these printed out, you could write on them. They can kind of narrow down which programs might actually be the best fit rather than just looking at which schools they can get into. And then also kind of take into, again, these things like campus facilities and narrow down their choices there a little bit better. So this is just one example, but we have a lot of great stuff on there. And then if we go to the next slide, we also have these educator toolkits that are specific to My Texas Future. Again, these are comprehensive, available for download. And the thing that I also really like about these are that I saw from our audience today, we have people in all kinds of different roles, right? We have administrators, we have teachers, we have advisors and counselors. So for these toolkits, when you sign up for it, you'll actually get the option for which kind of toolkit you want to download. And the first one is for counselors or advisors from the middle school level. The second is for counselors and advisors from the high school level. And then the third is for teachers or administrators. And again, this is just going to be full of great content, very thorough, and a lot of great resources and templates there that you can kind of use throughout the year. Awesome. And I'll go ahead and pass it over to Jared.
Yeah, hello everyone. We've had a great session so far today. But yeah, I just want to shed light on the Texas On-Course Network newsletter, your monthly toolkit for college and career success. We just recently launched the September edition of this newsletter where we actually highlighted direct admissions and a helpful article in My Texas Future basically guiding students on how to finish their admissions applications. You can also subscribe to our newsletter. Lauren just dropped a link in the chat as well. And then there's also a web version of the newsletter for September so that you can see all the helpful resources in there. Our next newsletter is scheduled to go out on October 1st, and it will be covering all things financial aid. So I hope to see you as a subscriber, and I can't wait to send that out to you all. And thank you for joining us in this session too.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jared and Josh. Here is our resources for today. If you scan that QR code, you will get access to a downloadable document that you can actually access all of the resources that we talked about today. So it's really helpful. When we send out the follow-up email that will have the recording, it will also have all of these resources. So if you don't get to scan that right now, you can look for that in our follow-up email that will come out later on this week. I know we're running short on time, but it's because we had so many wonderful things to tell you about today. So we're excited to do that and talk about all the wonderful things. So if you guys have any last minute questions, I saw a lot of questions being answered in the chat. please don't hesitate to just drop them in the, or excuse me, the Q&A. Thank you guys so much for using the Q&A. That was very helpful. We got to everybody's questions, but if you have any other questions, please drop them in there. We want to know. We have like 1 more minute. And while y'all are putting those last minute questions in there, thank you, Jared. This is our survey. We like to improve. We like to know how we're doing. We'd like to know maybe what other questions you have. You can scan that QR code and just take our 4-question survey, just seeing how we did today, if there's anything we can improve upon. But let us know if you have any more questions. And thank you guys so much for being here. We have about a minute left, so happy to answer anything that comes in. You guys have been an awesome audience. Great questions I saw coming through in the Q&A, so thank you for those. We always appreciate you guys being here. And I don't think I missed any in the chat. So again, thank you guys so much for putting all of those in the Q&A. That helps so much. This is awesome. Just a lot of thank yous. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Well, if you do have any more questions, you can find our contact information on that resource doc. Again, that will come out in the follow-up email if you didn't get a chance to scan the QR code, so be looking for that. Please do not ever hesitate to reach out to anybody on the team. We love talking to you guys and answering any questions that you have so you can have the best experience possible in My Texas Future and any of the resources that we have and that we provide for you. So thank you all so much, and we will close it out. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day.